From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN Noon News this Wednesday. I'm Augusta McDonnell. Let's get right to our top story. A routine drive home turned into a nightmare situation. 9 months ago, Taylor Bornong was critically injured in a head-on vehicle collision with the wrong-way driver on I-90 near Livingston. The driver, Jennifer Laguerre-Furman, pleaded not guilty earlier this year with the trial date set for June 16th. For now, Bornong is telling her story. MTN's Heaven Van shares her recovery and pursuit of justice.
It was just another commute for Taylor. She was on her way home to Bozeman after a shift at the Livingston Hospital when her life changed forever, after she was struck head-on by a wrong-way driver on the I-90.
I remember the very first thing that was in my head was it my fault? Did I just screw up somebody's life? Did I act stupid on the road? What happened?
On July 10th, 2024, 24-year-old Taylor Bornong's Ford Bronco was struck by the vehicle of Ohio woman Jennifer Laguerre-Furman, who was headed westbound in the eastbound lanes of I-90. Court documents say Furman's blood alcohol content was nearly 4 times the legal limit.
I was in there for about 3 days in the coma, and what I remember from waking up is the first thing I saw were these like white tiled ceilings. I see my mom's face kind of hovering over me, and she's crying, and she has like a little smile on her face, and she said, "Hi Taylor, it's Mom. You're in the ICU at Billings Clinic. You were in an accident, but you're going to be okay."
Taylor was life-flighted from the scene of the accident, where she suffered numerous external and internal injuries.
I had 16 breaks, and my whole humerus was fractured in so many pieces, especially my elbow and kind of in the middle. They kind of described it to me as they were putting a puzzle back together.
She says the emotional toll of the accident has weighed just as heavy on her as the physical.
A great example would be I cry quite often. I cry on my way to work, passing the spot where I was in this car accident. I cry on my way back in the same day.
Miraculously, Taylor took her first steps 4 months after numerous surgeries and weeks of therapy, and was back at work as a radiology tech within 7 months, but not without difficulties.
It wasn't even because physically it was easy for me to go back to work. I definitely have so many restrictions at work, and it's definitely hard. And I spend a lot of nights having to sleep upright because I physically can't lay down from the pain of working or, doing daily activities. Despite her suffering, Taylor shows a great deal of compassion when thinking of the woman who changed her life. I even used to pray for her when I was in the ICU. Not even because I felt bad for her. I don't know, for someone to willingly know how drunk they are and then get on the road, you need help. You need support in your life that is going to make you better, so you don't ever put someone's life at risk ever again. But the biggest thing that's kept Taylor going, the love and support of her family, friends, and community. Although they were helping me financially, if they weren't there for me as much as they were, I just feel like they saved me mentally. In Livingston, Heaven Van, MTN News.
The Montana legislature has passed Bobby's Law, which strengthens the punishment for DUI-caused deaths. House Bill 267 memorializes Bobby Dupree, who was celebrating his 21st birthday in March 2023, when he was hit and killed by a drunk driver outside of Columbia Falls. Tuesday was monumental for his family.
I can't express. I'm so overjoyed, and now I've got all emotional. Passing this law means that my son didn't die in vain, and it's going to be a better, safer place for all Montana citizens.
Bobby's Law creates a new criminal offense, aggravated vehicular homicide while under the influence. The felony offense would apply to anyone who kills another person while driving under the influence, if their blood alcohol was twice the legal limit or under court restrictions from past DUIs. An individual convicted of the crime would face up to 30 years in prison, with a minimum of 3 years and a fine of up to $50,000. Bobby's Law received broad bipartisan support, passing its final vote 95-3 in the House, and is expected to be signed into law by the governor. The bill's sponsor, Republican Representative Braxton Mitchell of Columbia Falls, said it was personal for him.
Yeah, so Bobby, he grew up just a few doors down from me in Columbia Falls. Went to school with him. He was a couple years behind me. The night he was killed, he was with one of my best friends growing up. So I mean, it's been just being able to bring this bill. I mean, it's emotional to even bring up. I mean, I'm glad we're finally here.
HB 267 isn't the only legacy Bobby Dupree leaves behind. His family created the Montana Bar Ferries nonprofit as a response. They leave gift cards with stories of drunk driving victims on vehicles that were left in bar parking lots overnight. A thank you gift for those who decided not to drive drunk.
Drunk driving is kind of woven into the cultural fabric of Montana, and so starting that conversation and continuing that conversation is really important to us because nothing's going to change unless we talk about it.
In Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
And good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Taking a live look outside, looking at Helena. It's a beautiful day, mostly sunny at this noon hour and a mild 50 degrees. Same situation over in Missoula, a little bit further to the north and west. Also a mostly sunny sky. Still some more snow in the mountains there, but we're not going to add to it yet. There are more chances for that going forward. Also 50 degrees in Missoula, a little bit cooler with more clouds over Butte. Currently 45 under that partly cloudy sky. Also more clouds and just about the same temperature in Bozeman compared to Butte. 46 degrees, the mostly cloudy sky. More clouds the further south you go. Same situation for Billings. Upper 40s right now, 49 degrees. Lots of clouds, but we're going to have better chances for rain and more mountain snow. Going to let you know when that's going to happen coming up.
Time now for our leading look. In today's headlines, a Billings man pleaded not guilty Tuesday to a charge of attempted deliberate homicide for an attack on his wife. 44-year-old Jesse John Strack was arrested Friday of last week after police were sent to a home for a report of a possible overdose. However, detectives say they quickly determined her injuries did not align with those of an overdose. Toxicology reports showed no illegal drugs in her system, and surveillance video showed the two in a physical fight before the 911 call. Strack's bond has been set at $500,000. And a national nonprofit named after the first victim of the Columbine High School shooting is coming to Billings schools. It's called Rachel's Challenge. Rachel Scott died at 17 years old. Rachel's Challenge focuses on eliminating teen violence by fostering stronger connections through acts of kindness and compassion. On Monday, 7th and 8th graders at Castle Rock Middle School brainstormed ideas to promote kindness in their school, from posting compliments on social media to creating a human chain link. And in Missoula County, you now have more time to share your thoughts on the potential sale of Holland Lake Lodge. Flathead National Forest officials have extended the deadline for public input on the special use authorization application. The application would allow potential buyers Eric Jacobson and Thomas Knowles to operate the lodge within its existing footprint. That means the buyers are not planning to change any facilities. Public comments are now being accepted until May 14th. A Billings judge imposed the longest sentence she's ever issued on Tuesday. All of it stems from this 2023 double homicide. Myron Goes Ahead shot into this home, killing a 20-year-old man who then fell on top of his 1-year-old boy and suffocated him. Our Matt Carmack was in the courtroom yesterday as Goes Ahead learned his fate and for the first time apologized for the lives he took.
After a plethora of information was presented by both sides to the courtroom on Tuesday, Myron Goes Ahead was sentenced to 150 years consecutively for both court cases by Judge Jessica T. Fair.
So while this is the largest single sentence I've ever imposed in a case as a judge, I find that it is absolutely appropriate as recommended by the state.
Sighs of relief were heard throughout the courtroom when Judge Jessica Fair sentenced Myron Scott Goes Ahead to 150 years in Montana State Prison. It included the possibility of parole in 36 years. When Goes Ahead was given an opportunity to address the court, he apologized for his actions.
It's not fair that I get to live and your baby boy didn't even get a chance. I took one of God's most precious gifts away from this world, away from you.
In November 2023, Goes Ahead shot into the bedroom of 31-year-old Kenneth Morrison. Morrison then fell, suffocating his child in the process. In court, the defense talked about Goes Ahead's childhood and its impact on his decisions.
He began smoking marijuana at age 11. He started getting intoxicated at age 12. He began using methamphetamine at least weekly at the age of 13.
However, state and county attorney Scott Twido said while Goes Ahead suffered a traumatic childhood, it doesn't negate his actions.
He cannot be in society for any reasonable period of time. He will hurt people. We can't even keep him in a detention facility without him hurting people.
And the prosecution reminded everyone that Goes Ahead was convicted of 4 charges: deliberate homicide, negligent homicide, attempted deliberate homicide, and possession of a deadly weapon.
The thing that frightens me about Mr. Goes Ahead, and I think this is not lost on the court, is he's intelligent, he's smart, he knows exactly what he is doing.
Goes Ahead will be up for parole in 2061 at the age of 56. In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Now let's head to the legislature. Prison capacity in Montana has been a problem for years, but yesterday the Senate advanced a bill directing hundreds of millions of dollars towards addressing that issue. The Senate gave initial approval to House Bill 833, setting aside more than $250 million for the prison system. $4 million would be used for assessing the current system and planning for future changes, while the rest would be used for renovating or building prison facilities. That includes a new facility to house female offenders. Senator John Esp says there are dozens of inmates waiting for spaces at the Montana Women's Prison in Billings, while the state is also looking to make upgrades at a Boulder facility to hold female inmates in the short term. He says that only highlights how necessary these funds are.
In about 4 or 5 years, we'll have a lot more capacity at Deer Lodge for men, and I think we'll have capacity at least at the projected rates of growth in that population to house most of our male prisoners there. So we need to do the same with female prisoners.
Meanwhile, House Bill 5, the session's major bill to fund capital projects, includes another $150 million to build new housing pods at the Montana State Prison in Deer Lodge, adding more than 500 beds.